Lifespans. Lifespans. Focus question. Why do different animals have different lifespans? An ancient clam. In 2006, scientists working on a research project off the coast of Ireland scooped up a quahog, a type of clam, from the ocean floor. The researchers froze the clam and later examined it under a microscope. Quahogs lay down rings every year as they grow, just as many trees do. When the scientists counted the rings, they realized that this particular clam was 507 years old. Who knows how much longer the clam would have lived if it had not been caught. What is a lifespan? Different types of living things live for very different amounts of time. The maximum amount of time a species can live is called its lifespan. A worm might have a lifespan of only 2 weeks, while a tortoise might live for 100 years. A few types of organisms even seem to defy time altogether. Most living things slowly become less and less healthy once they reach adulthood. This is a natural result of the process of aging. What actually is aging, and why do some animals live so much longer than others? Cells and aging. Aging has several causes, some of which involve cells, the tiny building blocks of life. Over time, the cells in a life form replace themselves through a process known as cell division. Cell division allows a cell to make a copy of itself and then die off to be replaced by the new cell. As living things get older, though, this replacement process slows down. Mistakes during the copying process can result in copied cells that are damaged. Even if the copies are perfect, the new cells just don't work as well as the old ones did. Also, the oxygen in the air we breathe can slowly damage our cells over time in a similar way to how water and oxygen can cause iron to rust. Eventually, our old damaged cells can't keep our bodies working well enough to stay healthy. At that point, we get sick and die. Some types of worms and files have bodies mostly made up of cells that can't divide. Their bodies wear out even more quickly than those of other types of animals. Understanding how cells work explains why all living things die, but why do some of them age and die much sooner than others? The answer involves several factors working together. The oldest person. Jeanne Calment, who lived in France, died in 1997. She was born in 1875. That means she lived for 122 years. She still holds the world record as the longest-lived human with a proven birth date. She lived so long that she not only outlived her child but also her grandchild. She rode a bicycle until she was 100. Body size. People noticed long ago that larger animals tend to live longer than smaller ones. Elephants and whales, for example, have much longer lifespans than mice and rats. Size is an important factor in how much an animal is at risk of being eaten by other animals. Large animals such as horses and giraffes are able to fend off predators much better than smaller ones. Because they are less at risk from predators, large animals have evolved to mature and reproduce at a slow pace. They often have just one or two babies at a time. They might go several years between babies. That slow pace is fine, though, because they usually live long enough to keep their populations steady. Smaller animals don't have the same luxury. They are generally at much higher risk from predators. They need to grow up and breed as soon as possible since death can come at any time. Animals in this group, such as mice and rabbits, need to have many babies very quickly to keep their populations steady. Rabbits can breed as often as 12 times per year, producing up to 14 rabbits per litter. That's a bunch of bunnies. Leopards, chameleons also have short lifespans. They hatch in November during Madagascar's rainy season. They only live 4 to 5 months. They grow up quickly, reaching adulthood in just 2 months. Adults breed as soon as they can, then begin to die off. Before they die, they make sure to lay their eggs underground ahead of the dry season to help their species stay alive. Cramming a lot of life into a short amount of time is most common among insects. Mayflies begin life underwater as nymphs. Once they grow up and leave the water to take wing, their time is nearly up. Most adult mayflies live for fewer than 24 hours, and the females of one species live for only 5 minutes. In that time, they must find a partner, mate, and lay eggs in water. Cecropia moths follow much the same cycle. After a season as a caterpillar, the adult moth is emerging. These spectacular silk moths live for just 5 days. The only job is to find a partner, mate, and lays up to 100 eggs. They don't even have mouth parts to eat with. Similar animals don't always live shorter lives than larger ones. Cockatoos are fairly small birds, but they can live for more than 100 years. And even tiny high-energy creatures such as brants bats can live longer than 4 years. Some tortoises are huge, but even some smaller ones can live for a century. Certain types of moles can live for 6 or 7 years. They may not sound like a long time, but it's about 50% longer than most animals their size. Bad news for big dogs. Large dogs generally only live 10 to 12 years, while smaller breeds can live up to 15 years. Evidence suggests that this is because large dogs grow much more quickly when they are puppies. This rapid early growth has lasting effects on the cells of large dogs and leaves them at much higher risk of cancer and other health problems as they age. Adaptations. One explanation for how small animals can live so long is that some have adapted to their living conditions by developing extra defenses. Tortoises have strong shells, birds can fly, bats can flock together for protection, and moles are great at digging tunnels and hiding underground. Still, some animals of similar sizes and habitats age at very different rates. These differences are usually because certain animals have ways to keep their cells healthy longer. Cockatoos and other parrots have developed special processes in their bodies that minimize damage to their cells. Similarly, necked mole rats have a protein that can quickly identify and repair problems with cells. This protein helps necked mole rats live as long as 31 years. That's decades longer than would be expected based on their size alone. Environments. Adaptations allow animals to live in different environments, which can also affect their lifespans. Many of the longest-lived animals survive in cold environments in the deep ocean. Bowhead whales often live for well over 100 years, but at least one individual has made it past 200. Greenland sharks slowly cruise the Arctic Ocean. One of these giant sharks reached 392 years of age. These animals have adapted to extreme cold by having slower heart rates and metabolism. The chemical reactions within their bodies, evidence suggests that slowing down these body processes also slows down aging. Ancient plants. Some plants outlive most animal species by centuries. Welwitschia is a plant found in African deserts. Evidence suggests that it can live for more than 1,000 years. It uses taproots to reach water deep underground. Also, openings in its leaves can draw in moisture from a rare morning frog. Bursticone pines live in California's White Mountains. The soil there is rocky and water is scarce. These conditions create slow growth. Astoundingly, one tree in this area is more than 5,065 years old. Extraordinary abilities. A few creatures go beyond the ability to simply lead a long life. They can do truly special things. The African lungfish lives in the shallow pools and breathes air at the surface. During a drought, it can postpone death by burrowing into moist mud. It turns around and places both its head and tail just inside the tunnel's entrance. Then it builds a mucus cocoon around itself, leaving a small hole to breathe through. In this cocoon, the lungfish can survive for months and even years without drinking or eating. When the rains return, it breaks out of its sticky safety net to continue its life in a muddy pool of water. The immortal jellyfish is even more bizarre. If it faces a threat to its well-being, it can change from a mature adult jellyfish back into a group of polyps. The polyps pop up and eventually becoming individual adult jellyfish. While no single jellyfish of its kind lives forever, This species has found its own kind of immortality. Still learning. Scientists still have much to learn about aging and lifespans. The animal kingdom holds many fascinating examples of different lifespans that show how cells, body size, metabolism, adaptations, and in the environment each play a role in an animal's lifespan. Studying animal lifespans can help us understand the many factors that contribute to aging and may one day allow us to live longer, healthier lives.